Some Gainesville nights where the lights burn bright. Swamp shake heavy when the paths collide. 25 champs and we still outside. Net cut down, but we hungry inside. Hardwood kings with the fast break glow. Seat heat and we run that show. Golden built that pressure zone. Orange wave make the whole place blow. Orange, blue, Gators breaking through. Swamp roll out, that's what we do. Chomp, chomp, bite down, they're through. Whole crowd shaking when we aim at you. Orange, blue, stand up with the crew. 4 fingers up when we hit you too. Chomp, 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 Gator coming through. Gator swamp roll out, that's what we do. Who you with? Gators.
Yeah. Welcome to the Lowdown with Loren Meadows, a Sidelines live production. I'm your host, Loren Meadows of GatorBaitMedia.com with the best shoe game and the Gator Media. And we're trying out some things, a little theme music. See how you guys like it. And tonight we got a good one. We got our monthly installment of What's Got Troupe Trippin with Gator Legend and host of 84 Reasons podcast, tight end Ben Troupe. And we're going to jump into a lot of things, talk about a little trash talk at the Spurrier Awards dinner last night. Kirby Smart, Mario Cristobal, and even John Summerall made an appearance, and see what people thought about this. Just a little back and forth early before we even get into spring practice. Rob Browne of SEC Sidelines will join us to talk about that and more. And we get into a little bracketology just 2 weeks from the SEC tournament. About a month, maybe just a little, about 3 weeks away from Selection Sunday. Where do these Gators stand, and who else are we looking at to make a run in March as things head the way to the Final Four in Indy? The Sidelines Live team would like to thank our sponsors, Meldon Law and Titan Imran Imaging. Subscribe to the Lowdown with Loren Meadows on YouTube and Facebook, as well as our partner shows on the SEC Sidelines Network, or Sidelines Live Network, the Buddy Martin Show, SEC Sidelines, Scarborough Knows, and follow yours truly on Instagram at Ohio Gator for Life and X at Real Ohio Gator. Let's get to it. I think we got Ben piped up. We were losing Ben for a minute, but there he is. What's happening?
What's good, sir?
Man, you got it going now. What's happening, man? Your boys,
man.
A lot of Gator Grace was in the building last night. I was like, "Where Ben Troupe at?" You know,
man. The thing I don't get memos, but I will say this for Coach Spurrier. You know, when people when he first got Spurrier, people was like, "Dude, what is he? He getting in the restaurant business?" I said, "Oh man, he getting into a location business because he's so well known." What people gonna say? Hey, Dan Mullen. You mentioned Bam Hardman, Doug Johnson, all these different guys in the building. Shout out to Coach Spurrier for having so much respect in the game that if you anywhere in the general vicinity or you got an invite, you don't want to be the one that RSVP that didn't show up. You don't want that on your resume. So I'm pretty sure I had a lot of fun last night, though, Loren. But I'm just happy at the fact that the buzz around Florida is obviously winning. Coach Summerall is doing every podcast but mine. I got to give him a couple 84 reasons. He did everybody else.
I need him on the Lowdown for sure too. Yeah, but no doubt. Maybe we tag team it, man. If you get him on 84 reasons, we do a little group podcast and get him involved. You know what I'm saying? Just get him right, and because man, everybody got him in. Shout out to all those guys. We're gonna get him in. Let Buddy Martin. Since Napier really never blessed Buddy Martin with an interview with his presence, I'm sure John Summerall will come around and get into it, for sure. But, we're not going to stay on that too much. I mean, we talk about it a little bit later when Rob comes on. But I do want to talk about one thing. I mean, it's funny. Like I've told people, Ben, that if you'd have bet me the money that I have, that Dan Mullen still would not be the coach at Florida and we would be 2 coaches removed, still to this day, I can't believe that didn't work. With that said, Dan Mullen was awarded the first-year coach, the Steve Spurrier first-year coach award last night at Spurrier's for his 10-win season at UNLV. Did a great job there. But I want to apply Coach Mullen because, for everything that happened, he stepped up to the plate. And there was media guys there. Shout out to Graham Hall and Kevin Brockaway. those guys were there, and they didn't necessarily ask tough questions, but when they asked questions, he was gracious. He had his head held high. Maybe took a little shot at the Florida administration, which may be warranted. But just shout out to Dan Mullen for really showing a lot of class last night. A lot of guys may have said thanks for the award, but I won't attend. But he was there. Got to see Megan. Always good to see her. And just really carried himself with class, man. So I got to give a shout out to Dan Mullen. Always been a Mullen guy, even back when he was the OC and then at Mississippi State and then the head coach at Florida. So, but kudos to him, man. First class for sure.
Well, sometimes, Loren, closure comes in a different form, right? When you are a guy like no one understands what Dan Mullen really dealt with, you could never ever question could he coach. It was never ever can he coach.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of the other things. I mean, sometimes coaches are really, really good at what they do, but managing an entire school, team, assistant coaches, Gator Nation, alumni, it's a lot on him. But for him to show up, when he could have even said, man, look, I'm at UNLV now, I appreciate it. To stand in front of the media shows how much class he has, and it's no hard feelings. Yes, what goes on behind the scenes when you talk about decision makers, that's different. The Scott Stricklands and all that kind of stuff, that's different. That's more of the business. But he's saying, look, the fans, Gator Nation, they didn't do anything. They held me accountable, as all fan bases do. But for him to stand up there and accept the award, and Dan looks at it as he goes, look, I can only imagine the headlines if I don't show up. If I don't show up, they got to speak for me. I show up, I win the award. It's a chance to shake Coach Spurrier's hand. And I'm still winning. Now, I don't know the situation going on at UNLV as far as like him paying his salary. That's a totally different story. But I give him a lot of credit. I give him a lot of credit for showing up, answering the questions, and showing what Florida still kind of means to him and what it meant for his career. To say I was the head coach of Florida, regardless of what did or didn't happen, I mean, Heisman Trophy finalists with a guy like Kyle Trask, Kyle Pitts, Kadarius Toney. I mean, so many moments and memories for a guy like Dan Mullen, but it just didn't work. Florida is a juggernaut, and what is okay at another place won't even scratch the surface of Gainesville. And I'm not saying Dan Mullen was a good coach. I just think that how it ended was ugly. It's not something that anybody likes. But he still came back to Gainesville. If anybody had a built-in excuse to not show his face, it was Dan. If he would have understood,
no doubt.
He goes, nope. He goes,
no
nope. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna show up, and I respect that.
Yeah, I mean, it's something about it. Like I went to the gym a couple of days after Napier got fired and ran into Napier. It's like, man, these guys, they outside now, I guess. So, and we're gonna get to a coach that's really been outside in John Summerall. We bring Rob in a little later, but. Like we do monthly, I always look forward to it being, we chop it up offline, but this is your opportunity every month. We want people to hear from you. We get into a little dialogue, and here we are again. And and for people that understand, when we say what's Got Troupe Trippin, you could trip out in a good way, you could trip out in a bad way, you could trip out in an easy way. It doesn't always need to be, it's not always necessarily negative. I mean, it might be.
Absolutely.
But what's Got Troupe Trippin, you could be tripping off, man, did you see that dunk last night? Whatever, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. But in any regard, what's Got Troupe Trippin?
What's got me tripping right now is, I'm blessed to have a nephew currently in college football, plays for Kennesaw State. And I'm from a place, Swainsboro, Georgia, that's got some upcoming talent, that's big time talent, gonna go to big time schools. NIL is a nasty game. And for people who don't really fully understand what it is, I'm not talking about the Arch Mannings of the world that can take a pay cut. I'm not talking about the quarterback from Duke that's going to Miami. To those schools out there that are paying players in high school to lure them to your school when they don't understand they're being lured. They don't even understand they're being, really, really taken advantage of. I don't like that. That's a dirty game. And I say it this way, Loren. When Loren is 18 years old and NIL is going on, you're going to take the money because I'm 18. Of course, I'm going to take the money. But if I don't fully know what the money comes with, I don't like that. I don't like that. I want every player to get he or she to get their money. But if a player is getting money from this school and saying I'm going to that school, and I'm like, that's not going to happen. You think I'm giving you money over here and you get to decide on? It's a dirty game. It ain't for the weak, but I'm telling you, NIL is a blessing and a curse because there are agents out there who don't have to be certified. They don't have to be certified by no PA. Some of them probably ain't even go to college, let alone even know what a contract is. Be careful before you sign on the dotted line. Understand every piece of language, because when I tell you, come 2020, the class of 2027, Long, it is going to get ugly with some of these players from my neck of the woods. We talking about the backwoods of Georgia, who all they ever want to do is take care of their family, and not have to worry about college. Now we talk about litigation on early signing day and national signing day. It's a dirty game. Dirty game.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to appreciate the insight and for instance, it kind of not doesn't hit home, but a good friend of mine or somebody I at least respect in coaching lost the and people that know me will probably know the school I'm talking about, but the top receiver in the class of 2027 is going to be he's headed to Ohio State, but he left one school to go to another one and supposedly signed a huge NIL deal while in high school. So lured to another high school, and that kind of thing to basically play at another, which kind of is a high school that's kind of out of the middle of nowhere, but I guess they got some money, things like that. But yeah, I think, it goes back to what we talk about, Ben. Every time we bring it up, I tell people, blame the adults. And that's what you're talking about. You're talking about these so-called agents, these so-called hanger-ons, or even if they are real agents, are they teaching these guys and ladies, I'm sure, particularly with the success of women's basketball, different things like that, are they really putting them in the best position to succeed, post career in college? Are they pushing the fact that you need to put some money away and you still need to focus on your degree and you still need to be, going to class and progressing towards something that maybe sets you up for grad school or medical school or law school or, a PA program or whatever you want to do? But to blame the adults. And you mentioned me being the difference between Loren Meadows at 18, and I could only speak for Loren Meadows, and Joe Schmo at 18. Charles Reed Meadows wasn't going for it. He'd have been like, you can get a little taste, but the rest of this, we putting it away. And you may not just be going to the highest bidder. You're going to go somewhere where academically they going to fit you. Because, that's the one thing. I mean, I don't come from no sellouts and they can't be bought, and like you talked about, I know Papa and Mama Troupe, from them, them back roads in Georgia.
Your mama, daddy would have been shaking hands, and mama would have been in the corner with her legs crossed going, wait a minute.
Right.
My mama could have been a litigator. No, just
right.
from because at the end of the day, your dad is saying, no, Loren is mine forever. When y'all no longer want him, he's gonna be mine. And
yeah.
I think you make a great point when you say your daddy ain't asking. I'm gonna give you this money to burn because you ain't gonna remember what you did with it, and you gonna appreciate me putting this money away. You gonna be never forgot about it. Next thing you know, you getting letters in the mail. What you mean a trust? What you mean? And I think that's the thing that scares me the most, Loren, is coming out of college, we ain't have no debt. I ain't got no debt. I ain't paying no taxes. And I think now money is such a resource when it's used right, and it is such a lure to these young men because you preying on the fact that I don't come from the best, a home life, and now you throwing the money at me, which of course they're gonna take it. But I'm like, dude, be very, very careful when it comes to NIL, because the lack of knowledge is really going on right now, and the fact that there is nobody bringing this thing in. So if everybody got something to say about they need to reel it in, reel what in?
You
These
can't reel it in.
non-agent. Yeah, exactly.
You really. I mean, there's nothing that, and it. I mean, maybe you can reel in the. I mean, in some regard, you can reel in maybe the agency part of it a little bit. You know, maybe there could be some things, but like we were saying, my father. My people come from no stoplight towns in West Virginia. I mean, my mother was from a little city, but my father, no stoplight town. I mean, but country dumb, you could be city slick too. And that's where
Yep.
you got to see the
Yep.
forest beyond the trees.
Yep.
And I think that's, something that, it's going to be interesting. Like they asked Dan Mullen last night about NIL and different things like that. And I can't remember exactly what he said, but he was saying, obviously having Vegas and the appeal and different things like that, they can lure certain players to Las Vegas. And being we both been to Vegas, we know what time it
Yep.
is. I mean,
Yep.
it is and now they're playing in Allegiant Stadium, so they got some appeal there and things like that. But yeah, I mean, as we sit here and to maybe gauge it, what concerns me is I think we've taken the purity out of the sport we love. And what I mean by that is to sit here and say, well, the team that spends the most money is the team that wins. That's not always the case. And it's like we've become a society of, I guess I'm going to say, it's not necessarily quitters, but it's of excuse makers. And as we kind of grow into this football thing, and we talk about the new coach John Summerall, and of all the things people talk about with John Summerall, they never say, well, man, he got a bag too. They talk about his fire and his grit and his ability to build tough teams and physical football teams, and I'm fine with that. That's the way it should be. So then don't come to me talking about the only reason Kurt Signetti wanted Indiana because he had Cuban's money and can't remember the guy at Cook, his money, and in video, or all these people that gave to this team. You still got to coach your football team. And I think what we're building a bunch of, I mean, I'll say it, a bunch of losers, guys that want to, they want to say, yeah, grit and tough and all that. Then when they lose, say, well, the only reason we lost is we ain't got no money.
Of course.
So, I mean, it goes, that's,
yeah.
Go ahead. No, I'm saying, no, I mean, I'm just saying, like, you still gotta coach your team. You gotta put people in position. And shout out to Ada, Ohio. I tell people I've been NIL since 1991. I ain't bought a drink in that town since I got there. I mean, it's just, I mean, it's just different things but
of course,
at the end of the day, we get to this thing and it's sprouting so many issues of just from just an institutional or intellectual kind of thinking. It's like, grit, determination, and character until we lose, and now we ain't got no money, or we win, and the only reason we won is because we got all this money.
It's exposing the fact that some of these coaches ain't as good as we thought. Because Kurt Signetti had to coach Indiana. Now they went through the gauntlet. You talking about Ohio State? You talking about Oregon twice? You talking about Alabama? You talk about and I think for me, it's so easy to say all we need is, and then with that, well, we need more of this, and we need more of this. Okay, at a certain point, can you coach? Because now in baseball, them big rosters, they got a shot to go deep into the playoffs because you can pay for anything, pitching, hitting, whatever. In college football, there is a lack of development. And it's something you said about Coach Summerall. When he was asked, Okay, what are you gonna say to a player, man? I don't want to hear that, man. You getting paid. I don't want to hear none of that. And it's what I can appreciate about him saying that is that Summerall saying, look, I'm at Florida. I understand the game I'm in. I understand we got to be able to compensate them. But when they get that compensation, all excuses go out the window. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear because with a guy like Curt Cignetti, what Curt Cignetti exposed is a lot of these coaches, they all right. They like we have placed a lot of coaches on a pedestal because of where they coach, not how they coach. Lane Kiffin in particular. Lane Kiffin is a good coach. Really, really good coach. But look at how far they went without him. Look how deep they went into the college football playoff without him. And all I am saying is, yes, NIL is going to be that built-in excuse. Well, if we would have paid that. Well, what about your background or your backstory lets us know without NIL that you could do this? Because if all what Curt Cignetti really exposed is this. Miami tried to buy a natty. They've never won ACC, and they tried to buy one. And Cignetti said, nope. It exposed more about Miami than it did Indiana. Indiana got a lot of older players, guys that was at, guys at JMU and different places. But these guys can still play football to say they've been to 4 or 5 schools. No, y'all trying to build a narrative because Miami was the brand and they got beat by Indiana. So, yeah, I love the fact that guys like Curt Cignetti exist because Curt Cignetti said, dude, I've been a good coach. I just I never got the respect because of where I coach, not how I coach. So, yeah, I love it, Loren, because these excuses are going to be running rampant. They say, yeah, man, if we would have paid it. Yeah, but if you're in the top 15, 20 in NIL, you shouldn't be competing for championships. You're in the top 20. Yeah, but we're supposed to be in the top 5 based off of what? Certain teams, like an Ole Miss, you don't have a backstory. What we gonna go back to Eli Manning? Well, that was my time. They wasn't winning SECs then. Well, we gonna go back to when Archie was there. So some of these schools, it's more perception than reality. And sometimes to get the NIL money, you got to win the perception game. But I would ask myself, what about your history warrants us saying, yeah, man, if they just do this? Some schools don't got that. And it's a lot of schools. Ohio State is not that school. Michigan is not that school. Miami might not even be that school. But Miami's won a national championship in 2001. That's the last time they won any major championship in football. That's a long time, Loren. So for this current generation of players, they don't care about them VHS tapes. They don't care about Michael. They don't care about Michael Irvin and all them boys. And we ain't taking that away. But if you more known for a guy named Michael Irvin who taking off his belt, spanking something, than winning natties, you got to ask yourself, have we seen the best of some of these schools and does NIL expose it? Because if the money is being spent and the results ain't there, and you lose it to a basketball school on the biggest stage of college football, I think a lot of teams are gonna be in that boat because if players didn't want to go to your school without NIL and they only want to go to school because of it, that's gonna be a problem down the stretch, I think.
Right. And we can bring it back to even Florida. When you look at Florida and the way they're constructed, and I saw Aaron Childs last night at the Spurrier thing, looking good, man. Had a big bright smile on his face, was ready to go. Bam Hardman was there, you know him well. A lot of guys. Coach Chapman was in the building. And obviously we'll get to Summerall because I want to bring Rob in because it's kind of a little trash talk, a little needling here and there and that kind of thing. But this team is it's not full of money, so to speak, but it is full of young men that I think want to be coached, want to know that week in, week out, they're going to be put in a position. When spring ball starts next week, they're going to get them up in the morning and practice. They're going to be practicing. I guess everybody's online now. They ain't got to go to class. So I guess they're going to practice every morning. That's what they do now. I guess they go online and, practicing in the morning and that kind of thing. But, so that kind of brings a different grit to it. But when you look at, just the roster construction and where this thing is, I wrote that this is probably, and you've been through it, the most crucial time in Florida football history, because I've said it a million times, and Kirby Smart even made a joke about it. You know, he's on his fourth coach since he's been in Georgia, his fourth, Florida coach. And it's we move into this thing where now it's like, money and all that aside, it it's got to be somebody around here that gets it and builds into it, because I can honestly say there's still some fans out there that, like I said, they want to talk about spending the money and things like that. And it don't take much. Ole Miss is showing you that. It don't take, they got a ton of NIL in the poorest state in the union, because people giving 20 and 15 and 10 and 20 and 15, but they got about 10,000 people doing it or whatever. It's like, are we in a position for Florida to bring it all together to where we just coaching our football team?
You hope so. What I give a Coach Summerall is that he's saying, okay. Right now, it's when the negotiations, bringing guys in, re-signing guys is happening. But just like I know, Loren, them closed door meetings when he go, all right, fellas, let me tell y'all something right now, because order has to be established. Like, he has to have. Coach Summerall got to be the loudest voice in the room and the most impactful voice in the room, and he's willing to do that. I heard he's out there working out with the players, but I think that's what makes NIL work, is to say, look, I get it, but it's always that. But when I take care of you, you better take care of me. I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to do all these things, because sometimes coaches don't get enough credit for. Sometimes they got to just play the game. I get it, man. A lot of this stuff they don't want to do, but you have to do. I remember, I remember when you talking about, his name is escaping right now, the old running back, the old wide receiver coach for Florida. When I was there my last 2 years, he ended up being the head coach at North Carolina. I went to go speak. I remember when this joker was doing commercials talking about Jumpman. That is not his personality. But somebody said, Coach, you got to do it.
Talking about talking about at when you was there?
When I was at Florida, he was a wide receiver coach my last 2 years.
Okay.
And he ended up being, he went to Southern Miss, and he head coach of Southern Miss, head coach of North Carolina. I can't think of his name right now. But
shoot, that's gonna bother me. Let me.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna look it up.
But go ahead, I got you.
I think you just gave the secret sauce, Loren. Is how do I get to coach? How do I get past all the fluff and we're just coaching? And the reason why I say that's important is because when I can coach is how I earn my money. And if I give you the NIL deal, you get a chance to go out there and earn your money. I know that Florida got more receivers than a little bit. I mean, they got a grip of them. But I just know, for me, I want Florida to get back to just playing football too. To where, let's just go strap it up. Let's just go see what we do.
Now, sorry, Ben, I'm gonna cut you just real quick. Larry Fedora,
yes. Okay.
Man, you talk about, and what's crazy, I forgot he was even at.
so he was at Southern Miss.
He was even at. You was right. Southern Miss, then North Carolina. I forgot he was at North Carolina for 6 years. I did not.
And here's the thing.
I did not remember. I mean, that's crazy.
He's a.
I mean,
people don't give him credit, but Ron Zook had a nice little coaching tree. I mean, he had Larry Fedora, he had Mike Loxley, right? Yeah. He had some guys that went on New Mexico. You talking about Maryland, you talking about Southern Miss. So for me, when I go to talk to Coach Fedora, right, when I first come there, I'm there with the NFL Ambassadors College Outreach Program, ran through the NFL Operations Department. So he's real buttoned up when I'm walking in the building. You know, he ain't seen him in a long time. How you doing, Coach? All this. And then I walk in his office and they close the door. And he's like, oh my freaking God. It's like, what's up? He's like, what's up, Troupe, man? I think for Coach Summerall, he's both people. In front of the cameras, look, man, I'm being myself, but I got to put on too. But once I get all the logistics out the way, all the all the contracts, including mine, hey, bro, I ain't come here to play. I already know the narrative out on me because of where I came from and because of the previous coach. I already know.
Right.
I already know that people was like, Summerall, that's the guy y'all got because, quote, y'all couldn't get Kiffin. It's all this stuff. And I don't think he run from it. But what Summerall is saying, I've already been to the college football playoff at Tulane. If I could win at Tulane, bruh, just give me that. I think he looked at Florida and said, bruh, if I can get that over there, and shout out to Bam Hardman, man, a former teammate of mine. Bam used to be at Troy. Then I think he went over to Tulane. I actually saw him when he was at Troy. I was there. I was able to go do one of his games. Right, the Willie Taggart's first game in college football was at Virginia Tech. It was on like a Monday night. So I think Summerall to me is a guy who what you see is what you get. He's gonna be open, honest. Whoa. He's gonna be open, honest, and transparent in 2026 in the spring of 2026. Now, how that ends up once the games kick off is gonna be a little bit different, but it is refreshing to see a coach that is willing to be honest about it. They're willing to say, "Look, man, I'm a former player. I understand. I got to earn it every day. I understand that the University of Florida is the biggest brand in the state, one of a top 10 brand in college football, top 10 brand in college." And he also knows if I'm not who they say I am, so be it. But I just see it different. And for those people that was thinking that Summerall was a settled guy, he wasn't. If he don't go to Florida, he's going to Auburn. They snatching him. He's going up there. So So I look forward to seeing what he does. I like a coach that doesn't do coach speak. That first introductory press conference, Urban Meyer, Coach Spurrier, they don't have to be there. They don't. They can watch it. They can hear about it on TV. I think for him to meet the media and shake everybody's hand, that's class, man. That's understanding that, hey, man, we ain't gonna always get along, but I respect y'all. I respect everybody in this room. And hopefully you get to a point where he calling you by your first name. It is Loren. It is Franz. It is Buddy. You know it. And it is Rob. You know what I'm saying? Because to be a head coach at the University of Florida, that's creme de la creme, baby. That his wife is saying, sweetie, we went in the store. They told us you will not eat. They gave us the fish. They gave us some fish straight out of Jacksonville off that water. They said, ma'am, give us an hour. You miss Summerall? Hold on. Don't give her that. Go to the back and get the one that's in the ice that's on chill. We can give you that. You know what I'm saying? So I look forward to watching Summerall because he's doing it on two levels now. He's doing it for Florida, but he's doing it for them guys still at Tulane. He said, look, there's a lot of guys at these schools that can coach now. Don't get it twisted. So, hey, man, I'm looking, and I'm super duper happy for Bam Hardman, who's from Jacksonville, 45 minutes up the road. And for him to be coaching at his alma mater like a Mike Peterson, hey, man, I'm looking forward to see, even Bam talking all coach like, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I said, that is not how Bam talks. But I love it for those guys. I do love it.
No doubt. Before we bring Rob in, let me go ahead and pay some bills and talk about the good folks at Meldon Law. Proven a skilled lawyer since 1971, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Got to see Mr. Meldon and his lovely wife last night at the Spurrier Awards, and just always glad to see them. New show kind of kicking off in partnership with the Buddy Martin Show. Every Thursday, Gators Hoopla around 9:30. They get things cracking to talk about just the experiences of the basketball with the basketball program. Mr. Meldon and his wife front and center with that. I think tonight they're doing an event with women's basketball. Shout out to my girl, Kayla Ray Finley. Got a big one with Ole Miss coming into town on Thursday. But just doing big things in the community, giveaways and all those things. I think I saw they have a giveaway for Diamond Deck seats at the baseball game. Just continue to just provide for the Gainesville community, helping you with your legal needs, offices up and down from Lake City all the way down to South Florida. And if you have a legal need, they're there to help you. If they can't help you, they point you in the right direction for somebody who can. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Ooh, we won't back down. So, Rob, last night, it was in full swing, man. You had Mario Cristobal, you had Steve Spurrier, you had Dan Mullen, you had Kirby Smart, and a little trash talk. So I'm gonna give you some of the sidelights. So obviously we'll start with Kirby, and somebody said they saw John Summerall's kind of jaw tighten up a little bit. Kirby Smart mentioned that this was now the fourth Florida coach since he had been at Georgia that he was going to face. So that was kind of a dig. And then I think Spurrier or maybe somebody had said Mario Cristobal needed to talk to Coach Spurrier to see what winning an ACC title looked like. And then I think Cristobal said, well, you can see what Carson Beck can do when somebody actually coaches him. And and then I think somebody said, there was the young man from Georgia. He said, well, I better keep him away from Mario because he ended up at Miami like Carson. But with all that, I mean, you got to love, that you bring this to, I can't see the former coach. God said I'm going to stop saying his name, out of respect, and he's gone now. But you could see that if Summerall had his druthers, he would, want to be up next year accepting that award. And B, you like to see that from the coaches, two coaches that battled it out in the playoff, and then another one, well, really two that recruit against. Somebody asked me, said, was that a planned roast? I said, nah, that's three guys that know how to recruit, giving each other the business. That's what that was.
I mean, I saw a lot of it. It's funny. My friend Wes Neighbors, who's on the show, who played at Alabama, has a great show in the afternoons in Huntsville. They were showing the video of it. And look, we're all old enough. By the way, I love hearing about your nephew, Ben. That's all at Kennesaw State, and I hope things really do go great for him. And you're from Swainsboro. It's the small towns in the South that produce all these great players.
And shout out to my man Zaire Hawkins coaching at Kennesaw as well. Ask your nephew about him, Ben.
Yeah,
me and mom went to high school together. So shout out to Zion.
That's a big deal. And also, I got to say, you got great taste in music, Loren, because when Brendan put out before the show, Ben, he goes, who are your top groups? My wife is convinced that Prince or Lionel Richie have written most every song. They've written a lot of country songs, but I think Prince was so talented. He was extraterrestrially talented. I mean, with the guitar, people don't talk about how great a guitar player is. And Earth, Wind, and Fire, if you ever want to get in a good mood, you just want to get in a good mood, whatever you're doing, that's one of the greatest groups.
The Elements, yes,
and
sir.
They really are. And they're freaking phenomenal. But, I mean, I watched that roast, and we're all old enough to remember, maybe Ben's not, but I am, the Dean Martin roast. I mean, good God.
Yeah.
There was they held nothing, but you got to have fun. I mean, through marriage, I have an Alabama daughter. She's still a good person, but man, we go at it, I mean, that's the fun part about it. And we got a chance to talk this summer on the show on Sidelines with Ron Zook and Larry Fedora. Talked to both of them. And I was hearing y'all talk about it. I'm thinking, Fedora went to A&M. Hell of a coach, man. Really good. And Ron Zook, man, he was out in California at his daughter's. He really likes Ben Troupe. And that's, hey, you don't forget people that help make you who you are. What is it, 2000? You didn't redshirt, did you, Ben?
No, I didn't. No, I wish, but no, I did not redshirt. No.
You're still, I mean, the youngest at 17, a freshman in college. I was 19 as a freshman.
Yeah, I was 17 too.
God.
Playing college football, I know it's crazy. 5 games in.
Yeah.
Like I didn't turn 18 to the 5th game.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a different world. But I think those roasts like that stuff's fun. And John Summerall, I mean, golly, his wife's an Auburn grad. I thought I'm like, only Auburn could do that. We call it Java, just Auburn being Auburn. But Florida got the best. And I saw, I think Bruce Feldman or one of the guys in The Athletic today ranked all 34 coaching hires. Okay. I think Summerall was second or third best. I think he was second best on that list. And I mean, and I think he's such a great hire, but he's won everywhere he's been. And John, I mean, you said something, Ben, a second ago. What he's doing is for the coaches at Tulane, the coaches at Georgia State or whatever, so they get that opportunity. I mean, you don't go to the store like, you go to Costco or Sam's, find a great coach on aisle 10 next to glass eyeballs. They're not there.
Right.
But man, I guess what I love about Florida's hire is they got a guy that is already getting that. Ben, last week before the show, Loren spent 5 minutes talking one-on-one with Summerall at the basketball game. He didn't have to do that. So I think that's cool.
Well, he's outside. I mean, Napier never came to that dinner. Summerall came to it right out the gate, he and his wife. And, I mean, you talk about coaching and hires. Not only did he brought Bam Hardman back, but he kept Mike,
Peterson.
He kept Mike Peterson. I mean, he understands that, he still got Brandon Spikes around. I mean, he does understand things. I wrote an article about the 3 things that he, needs to do going into the spring and beyond. And one of them was he need to be outside. He needs to be engaging, needs to be a part of the community. And he wasn't, when he came to that basketball game, and I think I told you this, Rob, he didn't have no security detail. Yeah. He had his daughter and her friends. He making hot dogs and going back for seconds and got ketchup coming down. Like I said, that may not equate to wins, but it'll help you if you don't win. Yeah. It's that goodwill that you build up. And, another coaching hire I just want to mention, because I really respect this guy, Billy Gonzalez will be joining the Texas. Mike M. asked me what I thought. I mean, obviously, any staff that hires Billy Gonzalez is going to be better for it. I think he's one of the better receiver coaches in the country, even at his age, still in great shape and still working those guys out. So between him and Chris Jackson and getting Cam Coleman from Auburn, I mean, they're going to be in great shape at the receiver position and probably take a big leap. But yeah, I mean, Rob, we look at this and it's like, this is where I come back to, it's the sport of kings played by savages. It is. When we get down to it, like I said, and we talked about it in depth, NIL and all that, it's 53 1/3, it's 100 yards wide. 100 yards long. We need to get back to or maintain that on Saturdays. We still trying to kick each other's teeth in. And that's what I think these coaches were talking about last night. Phil Fulmer was very gracious, talked about his relationship with Spurrier, the mutual respect. The wives are great friends. And that's what I've always said, Rob, is you beat the heck out of a man for 2.5 hours. And then what you do at the end? You go across, you look the man in the face, and you shake his hand.
Yes.
Because that's when the sport of kings comes in. We savages while we playing. But we're going to be gentlemen. We're going to walk across. And then it's it. And then we move on to the next one. So, I think that's the thing that, no matter what level, I played at Little Ohio Northern and it's all relative. Mm-hmm. It's still a sport of kings played by savages. You got 5'10", 170-pound receivers going against 5'10", 170-pound DBs at the D3. We're still trying to kill each other. Yeah. And then we going to watch Ben Troupe on the TV afterwards. It's like, or what, I was always saying, how many my boy Shane Matthews throw for today? It's all relative. And I think I want to make sure that we maintain that. And that's why I'm constantly pushing it with this show, being this is our game. It
is. It is. What you got a chance to see last night, Loren? People need to stop thinking that Cristobal and Kirby Smart, Summerall, those guys, they not only do they like each other, they respect each other. They go, look, man, I get it. We supposed to, now we in front of each other, we supposed to act like, it's like two political commentators going back and forth. They have dinner after the show.
Yeah.
I mean, I like what you said because it's the ultimate level of respect. As you mentioned, how I was as a football player is not how I am as a person. If my mama heard my mouth when I'm out there on the field, she gonna be like, "What was wrong with you?" I said, "Mama,
I got a whooping."
Reed, my freshman year, we had a guy that came with me named Reed Fleming. His brother played linebacker for Georgia, and they put Reed on make sure that he was blocking his brother on kickoff. And it's one of those things where there are people in life that don't understand. Man, we get a chance to go out there and let's see. All right, you don't think I'm that good? I don't think you that good. Let's see. But after the game, we saying the only reason why we don't have dinner at each other's house in college because we at a hotel. Man, we having dinner the night before because we know, look, bro, you already know what it is in between them lines, but there's a certain level of respect that comes from understanding how hard it is to play the sport of football, to say, I know how hard it is to play it, to coach it, to game plan it. So when you out there with these guys, you don't got to talk about mutual respect. That's why when guys get hurt, everybody got a knee. Oh, man, because you don't want to see that. So to have all those coaches, Coach Spurrier has so much respect from these newer coaches or the current coaches to come out there and say, Kirby Smart, where you going tomorrow, man? I'm going to be in Gainesville. I'm going to Spurrier's. Why? You think I'm going to miss that? You think I'm going to miss being around, guys that I respect, Cristobal and those guys? And the football is the same way. Whenever I got a chance to play against these guys, I say, look, man, either you're gonna bring out the best of me, I'm gonna bring out the best of you, but let's go play some real good football. Let's go out there and make people understand why, they could have chose any game on Saturday. They chose us. So let's go do it. Yeah. But in between them lines, bro, I got a problem with you now. Understand when I see you, but that's where the respect level is there. It's like a heavyweight fight, man. Hey, man, I'm gonna take your best shot. You take my best shot, and hopefully we both keep getting up. Hopefully at the end of the game, I'm looking at you like it's like you walking away, looking over your shoulder, like, hey, man, that dude got something to him, So yeah, it's always when I see a Ronnie Browne when I'm playing against Auburn in 2002, and we knock Cadillac Williams out the game, and then Ronnie Browne comes in. That's cheating. The guy that just came in is just as good as the guy that we knocked out. And after the game, I tell Ronnie Browne, man, when I first met you in 2000, the Florida Georgia High School All-Star game, man, I didn't know you was like that. You like that? And he's like, oh, you know how it is. So I get what you're saying, Loren. We are the most blessed and fortunate people to have done it because the farther away you get from the game, you realize, bro, that was us. At one point, people playing their whole week to watch. We can decide a person, hey, man, if they win on Saturday, you'll see me in church on Sunday. But if they lose on Saturday, I'm not going to church. And church wasn't online like it is now. You couldn't watch it.
Get up and go. Yeah, no doubt. So before we get into that, let me talk about before we get out, and we're going to get into some basketball just real quick to finish it out. I want to talk about the good folks at Titan MRI and Imaging. 3 locations, 2 in Gainesville, 1 in Lake City, serving Columbia County and Valdosta, Georgia. Hit that QR code. Gainesville's newest independent MRI facility coming soon to Ocala. No insurance, no problem. Self-pay options, big MRI machines, CT scans, X-rays, walk-in hours, just great customer service. Like I said, in the work that I do, a lot of the patients I know go to Titan MRI and Imaging. Joe Calorio doing a great job, doing some things just like Mr. Meldon with the sports at Florida, particularly I think with softball, doing a lot of things to help the softball team. Saw him at an event. So just these folks not only serving the community, but really pitching in to help the Florida Gators, particularly the sports teams and others, be as good as they can be. So, just really thank the good folks at Titan MRI. Titan MRI and Imaging is your choice. So, Rob, about 2.5 weeks from Selection Sunday, looks like, they got the Texas Longhorns, one of the last 4 byes, along with your Auburn Tigers, UCLA, and Indiana. But got my Gators on that 3 line. which means they are one of the top 12. I would probably have the Gators as a 2, particularly if they go to Austin, one of my favorite cities. Shout out to Austin. Keep Austin weird. I'll be there next week for a while. So shout out to Austin. But not tomorrow night when the Gators come to town. Yeah. But Rob, I mean, you look at this team and, you know, we talked about it again, but I really think with everything that's kind of sliding and moving, I look for the Gators to be in that 2 line, still playing in Tampa, but maybe moving into that. I think now they got them. They had them in that West bracket as a 3. Now they've moved, according to Joe Lunardi, into that 3, going in the Midwest bracket. The regional is in Chicago. So, you know, still some moving and shaking to do for sure, Rob.
Well, I mean, look at who Florida played early in the season and lost close games to teams like Arizona and Duke. They ought to be, right now, they should be a number 2. Right. Because they're dominating a great league, the SEC.
Oh, yeah, by the way, excuse me, Rob, before you go, and we talked about it last week, SEC ain't good as it would be. How many teams you think they got the SEC getting in, Rob?
9 or 10. I'm with Joe Lunardi.
11.
He thinks 11.
Yeah, go
but
ahead.
I'm saying at least 9. No, at least 9 or 10. But I'm seeing Florida. It's almost a repeat of last year. They go on the road at Auburn last year, stomp Auburn February 8th. February 7th this year, they go on the road and get in a boxing match with the Texas A&M Aggies. They put Buckyball to bed for now. So, no, it's there's a lot of similarities. And, you know, y'all remember last year, Walter Clayton Jr. wasn't a preseason rock star out of Bartow, Florida, went to Iona, came back to the South. Look, there's so much political bias in the selection for the college basketball tournament. 357 schools can make it. In the college football playoff, you got 136. So they like to be inclusive and get teams from all over the country. You know, Franz was on the show this morning. What's the Big East got? UConn, they got St. John's. That's pretty much what they got to offer this year. Big 12, Kansas is coming on. But right now, Gators hold 2. And they've got, like, all they got to do is win 2 of the next 4 games. But they got to play at Kentucky, don't they? And at Vanderbilt. Okay, so.
No, I think Vandy comes here.
Vandy comes here, you're right.
Yeah.
But they got to go at Texas. You're right. Keep Austin weird. That's not hard. But, I mean, my kids have gone to so many music festivals out there to hear the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Widespread Panic. We used to say, what's going to happen if Jerry Garcia ever dies? Well, they all became spreadheads. Deadheads became spreadheads. That's Austin for you. But
shout out to 6th Street, Austin.
That's right. And I think Todd Golden, the mastery of Todd Golden is he just keeps his cool. And Ben knows this, and you know this from playing. And I agree with both of y'all. D1, D2, D3. My egg man up on Crowley's Ridge in Arkansas, I get all my farm fresh eggs. He is a North Dakota State Bison fan. Of course, he grew up playing hockey. He's had 6 knee and shoulder surgeries, okay? Those guys are just, they're tough. But they're moving on up, okay? It doesn't matter. What we've got to be so careful of, it is a sacred trust, and that's our love of sports, college. I mean, as a kid, 3 years ago, actually, May will be 4 years ago, I was in Birmingham at the club for the Nick Saban Legacy Award. Steve Melnick introduced Steve Spurrier. Archie Manning was there, and it was the family of Eddie Robinson was there. He was posthumously awarded it. And his grandson, Eddie Robinson III, I met him, and he watches our show a lot. He lives over in Atlanta. We got to be real careful. I'm with Ben. If you got a nephew or somebody you know, it doesn't matter where they are. It matters to them, and I like to see them. I don't know. I love it when people, and y'all can do it, can talk about Ohio Northern, can talk about Kennesaw State. And I love the SEC. We know that. But we need sports. It's just good for the health of the country.
No doubt.
College sports.
Right. Ben, what you think? We making the trip to Indy this year for the Final Four? What you think?
I think we got good a shot as any because the thing about Florida this year is everybody knew they'd hunted, right? Everybody knew that you're going to get a team's best. And I hate to give them credit. The best thing happened to Florida was losing to Auburn. I know it ain't happened in 30 years, but since then, you look at what Florida's been doing. offensive rebounding is the hardest skill in basketball. It's the hardest one. If you get an offensive rebound, you can do whatever you want to with the ball. And we got a big man that is really, really understanding what his role is. What is he at? 100 and over 100? I mean, to have any offensive rebounds in a season, if he hasn't broke the record already, what Coach Golden does, he doesn't get guys to play their role. He gets guys to star in it. Hey, this is what you do. This is who you are. And everybody knew people saying, hey, is Florida going to be, and listen, Aberdeen, I love you, but you know good and well this Kentucky team is not better. Stop it. Stop the madness. That I love you, Aberdeen, but you know this Kentucky team ain't better than Florida. Anyway, SEC basketball, let me say this. SEC basketball will never be what the ACC is, but as far as like what it has become, no, there's never going to be a Duke, North Carolina. I get that's the greatest rivalry in college basketball.
It is.
But what the SEC is building in basketball, I mean, it's beautiful to watch. It really, really is. And I think that no matter what, LSU ain't going to say it. You know, Georgia ain't going to say it. Tennessee ain't going to say it. They know they love Florida. They know what Florida means to SEC basketball because while Kentucky will always have the chips, Florida is the barometer. They want to beat Florida bad. And I get it because they got the hardware. So I like I like the way we play. And because we want to play defense, like we make it a point. Because nowadays you're trying to shoot people out the gym. You're trying to live and die by the perimeter shot. You're trying to live and die by the three. Florida's saying, look, if we got to get ugly, it could get ugly. Our backcourt is just as good as any. I just like the way Coach Golden is saying, I'm not a one-trick pony, baby. I'm not a one-trick pony.
No doubt. And speaking of Fran's Beard, shout out to Fran's. Go out and get your copy. See the QR code in there, the Golden Season, written by Fran's Beard, foreword by our own Buddy Martin, the Golden Caesar, Carlton Reese as well, publisher, and great pictures by our man Chris Spears, who is probably one of the most underrated sports photographers in the business. I mean, unbelievable eye for pictures and things like that. Before Brendan brings on the music, Ben, who we got? What we looking at? The 84 Reasons.
Listen, we got some guys that wasn't the biggest names in college, at Florida, but we got the Trey Orrs coming through. We got some different guys coming up on 84 Reasons. Might even start to, might be getting ready to get into some legacy players. I've been internet stalking Browne for VB3. I've been internet stalking Willie Jackson for Khalil Jackson. If you are a legacy player, don't duck me because I'm gonna chase you down like you owe me child support. I'm coming for him, Loren. I'm coming for him.
And just guess who Mrs. Meadows met this weekend? Channing Crowder.
Listen. Shannon actually came on 84. He hit me up and said, True, when I get my 15 minutes, I said, I'll give you 16, boy. What you talking about?
Right, no doubt. Rob, who you got on the show tomorrow?
Got Jason Caldwell, Auburn Undercover, Jake Wimberly, Afternoon Drive in Jackson, Mississippi. The numbers, he is big into metrics. We also have Dudley Dawson, Inside Arkansas, Vince Ferrara, Sports Animal in Knoxville. We're going to be all over the SEC basketball, how we're going to get another national champion. Right now, Florida, you got to beat Florida to take it. Good luck.
No doubt. And, we'll be looking forward to it. Big game tomorrow night, followed by another one, Kelly Ray Finley and the girls, senior night against Ole Miss. Bring that music back in there, Brendan.
I love that.
Yes, sir. They got to move to it. But, we appreciate you guys joining us for the Tuesday or the weekly edition of Lowdown with Loren Meadows. He's Ben Troupe, Rob Browne. I'm your host, Loren Meadows. We'll see you next week. Go ahead and say it, Rob.
Hey, I love it. I love it.
No, where we going to be next week? Recording live?
Live from somewhere.
Hey, there you go.
I love that.